So we've been doing this about 50 episodes now, talking about tech, reacting to launches and calling out things that make sense.
Also things that make absolutely no sense.
And along the way, we realized something, that this isn't just about tech anymore. It's about moments where you look at something and go, wait, what?
Like, who asked for this?
Exactly. So we thought, if that's the feeling we keep coming back to, why are we still calling this What the Tech? Because honestly, it feels more like what the.
Yeah, that one hits different.
So welcome to the new chapter. Welcome to What the Click. Hello guys and welcome to episode number 51 of What the Click. My name is Adam Lobo.
And I'm Vernon, being in a new environment.
Technically, we are in a same environment, but it was supposed to be a brand new name, a brand new feeling, but it's on the channel here on our main YouTube channel instead of it being on a separate YouTube channel. And the reason being?
Because of YouTube.
Yeah. So YouTube has this verification which is needed for a brand new channel, where they ask a phone number verification. So what I've done is I put my phone number and it gives me errors non-stop. In case you all did not know, when you open a new YouTube channel, you need to have certain verification or certain things is locked. So what is locked is that if it's a new channel and if you don't do this number verification, you cannot post more than 15 minutes and you cannot have a custom thumbnail. This is something where I never went through when I first opened my YouTube channel. It shows how long ago this has been. I understand why Google is doing this. This is to actually, curb the issue of people coming up with scam accounts and stuff like that. But that also makes creating a new YouTube channel hard, right?
Yeah, and I mean, you won't be the first one to have multiple YouTube channels. So if it's so hard, why is there so much friction?
Exactly. And imagine this. Besides What the Click or the podcast, I've been always toying with the idea of coming up with like separate YouTube channels. Like I'm a huge fan of Liverpool, for example. Imagine if you do like a football podcast, or if you do like an action figure collectibles kind of channel. So YouTube, what's going on? Let us know in the comment section below if you're watching. Anyway, we are back in episode 51 with a brand new name, but in terms of the content, it's going to be same but a bit better, because we have some very interesting news for this particular week. We are in episode number 51, and the whole thing that we're going to be talking about is, of course, the device reactions that we have over here, which is the Vivo V70 FE. We just did our first impressions video of this. I'm going to be talking about that. We do have our regular tech news, but this tech news, which I like, which Vernon has actually picked up, is based on what we are looking at throughout probably the last few weeks or so, because we kind of skipped one week. And of course, we have our amazing Who Asked for This? And of course, Jefferson with his amazing Who Asked for This? So that's what we have right now. So for the very first thing that we need to talk about is, of course, my device reaction. This is the Vivo V70 FE, a very interesting device. Now, if you know me well enough, I like the color purple. Whenever any brand comes up with the color purple, that's for me something which I always loved and appreciated about.
I thought you were always the white guy.
Yes, it is true. But recently, I've been going towards a more purple or lavender kind of feel.
Softened.
Yeah, softened. Maybe because I got a son, that's why I softened. Yeah.
Be, yeah.
So, but one of the things that really stood out to me was that when Vivo sent over the phone, they told us that FE stands for Fashion Edition, not Fan Edition. What are your thoughts about that?
I mean, look at what they pulled through.
Yeah,
the floral print on the back cover. So I mean, if they're saying Fashion Edition, maybe I believe them.
Okay, so that's one of the major changes. And of course, the FE biggest factor has always been the price factor. But before that, let's talk about the main point of why they released this phone. First and foremost, other than the amazing finish, which is in purple and it has a very interesting shimmering glow, the main selling factor about this is the fact that it has a 200 megapixel sensor.
Which is crazy, right?
I know. Who would have thought that in this day and age we have a 200 megapixel sensor on a phone within this price range?
I have questions about that, but let's continue.
I brought this when I was in Lijiang in Yunnan alongside the Vivo X300 Ultra. Full in-depth camera review of the Vivo X300 Ultra is coming soon, so stay tuned for that. And of course, most mid-range prices will put in a high megapixel count, but looks like crap. But I can tell you, so far, it has been really great. Another very interesting fact is that it has the CIPA 4.0, which is like your standards for OIS. The Sony cameras, the mirrorless camera has this CIPA or CIPA standards, which stands for Camera Imaging Processing or something along the lines. I mentioned that in our review as well. It has an IP68 and IP69 rated. We did have this discussion whether it matters to me, and I said I don't really care about IP rating, but that is interesting.
But I mean, again, for a device of this price point with IP68 and 69, I think that's pretty impressive.
Exactly. And it also has all the cool AI stuff that you've seen on other Vivo phones. It comes in Origin OS 6. I did mention about how Origin OS is so much nicer than the previous OS that they had. It's version 6, which means that it is more stable. It is very good when it comes to loading apps and just multitasking all the way.
It's also running Android 16.
Yes,
right?
exactly. Out of the box, which is great, right? But the biggest selling factor is the fact that it has 7,000 milliamps of battery. Massive. With a phone within this particular...
silicon and carbon?
Definitely, Abang. Silicon carbon is the way to go for a lot of phones, except for Samsung and Apple. They're still chilling. 1,599 ringgit for this particular phone. Now,
wow.
I'm sure there are interesting price references that you actually listed down here. So give us the lowdown on the price reference of a similar price bracket, but it's more like the exact price bracket if you see over here.
It is. I mean, as you know, it's a very competitive space.
Yeah.
It's mid-range. I mean, it's slightly below mid-range, I would say, in between maybe the low range and the flagship mid-range.
Yeah.
1,599 is a very good sweet spot, I feel. But it's a very crowded market. You have the Realme 16 Pro and you have the Redmi Note 15 Pro.
Ooh.
You also have the older Nothing Phone 3A and the Poco X8 Pro, which is a little bit more expensive at 1,699.
Okay.
Yeah. But honestly, looking at the 200 megapixel camera alone and the 7,000 milliampere hour battery, I think it puts it in a very good place.
Yeah.
I feel build quality is pretty good as well.
Yes.
Design wise,
I'm
okay with it. It's not
something that people would like or may not like it. They can always go for that black or like that more muted colors.
Fashionable people probably like it because there's floral prints on it. But yeah, it's crazy. I have questions about the 200 megapixel camera though.
Sure, you can ask me the question and then, but since we're talking about price reference first, let me just jump into what you wrote here because I like the lab specs, right? While the Vivo V70 FE, guys, is the main selling factor is the 200 megapixel, the 7,000 milliamps of battery, and also the IP69 rating. The so-called selling point for the Realme 16 Pro is the 120 Hz, which this has. Is a 1.5K curved AMOLED screen, which is, is very arguable whether or not you really can tell a difference. The Redmi Note 15 Pro, which comes with 1,599 price, the key advantage is the 120 watts of hypercharge. So this one has 90, if I'm not mistaken, and it's whether or not do you really need that up to 120 watts. Like if you've been living with an iPhone or even a Samsung phone, except for the new S26 Ultra,
60.
So it's like you still like, that's just half the speed. Nothing Phone 3A, of course. The biggest thing that we always talked about, even though you're paying slightly more at 1,669, in a very clean software, it has Nothing OS 3.0 and a glyph interface, and this is the Nothing Phone 3A, not the latest 4A, which is last year's phone, and the Poco X8 Pro. Now, this is for the gamers out there. I do not think that the Vivo V70 FE would be catered towards the hardcore gamers per se.
No.
But yeah, so the only thing that is the selling factor for the X8 Pro coming with a 1699, which is 100 ringgit, just a bit more, with a Dimensity 8400, which has some of the top tiers when it comes to benchmark. Another thing is that I like this watch first consideration. But before we talk about the watch first consideration, you have a question for me based on the megapixel count and the value. So what do you have with me?
Yeah, I think there's always this question about, does megapixel influence ultimately the quality that is going to be output by a camera, right? I feel that the lens, the quality of the glass is also important. So through your experience and you having done the review, what do you think about that? Is 200 megapixel just a marketing gimmick?
Okay.
Or does it actually translate to good photos and videos?
The main thing that I realize is the use cases that you can use the 200 megapixels. Of course, people like us, we already know what we need to shoot. There is a dedicated 200 megapixel on the phone, and what happens is that when you take a shot, it can be vertical or landscape, the fact that you can crop up to almost 900%, it means that you take one shot and you can have like several photos from it. So if you take probably a landscape photo, you take a photo and then you crop it accordingly, you can come up with a bunch of vertical
so essentially
photos.
You get a zoom.
Yeah. But I agree with what you meant, because everybody is not going to always use the 200 megapixel camera. But probably because it was so beautiful in Yunnan, that's why the photos look so nice.
Yeah, it's pretty
in the end of the
impressive.
day, it is very beautiful.
That's crazy.
But imagine how you can actually zoom in a lot without having any compromise per se when it comes to that. Is this a party trick? Probably for some people. But in the end of the day, I think what sells this is the fact that a 200 megapixel sensor is still a physical sensor, and it does capture as much details as possible. Things like Samsung's Horizon Lock, the reason why that could be done is because of the 200 megapixel count, because they're using the whole sensor and they crop it accordingly, right? So I think that is one of the factors which does make sense from a 200 megapixel standpoint. And it's like us shooting in 6K resolution. If you want to downsample it, you can. Or even if you're taking a 12 megapixel shot of the main camera, you're still taking a downsample version of a 200 megapixel. So technically you're getting a bit more detail, and it will be a bit more sharper, especially when you load up on Instagram, which actually compresses the whole entire thing as well.
Got it.
Yeah.
Good point for I think users and potential buyers as well.
Yeah.
When they make a decision.
But I do have the negativity at this point in time. So let's talk about the negative points first and foremost. What I found, I still do not think that this phone is very much catered for videographers.
Okay.
The video quality is nowhere near as their flagship X series, obviously. The V70 Pro is so much better. Even the baseline V70 was actually very decent. You still record 1080p for the ultra-wide lens because of how small the sensor is, like 8 megapixel if I'm not mistaken. And although you have the CIPA stabilization and the ultra-wide stabilization is just decent still, because it's still an 8 megapixel, right? But because you're downsampling it to 1080p, so of course you kind of have that leeway of, okay, now it's 1080p, so the stabilization is a bit better. The front camera does record in 4K, but the stabilization is not the best in the world, because the CIPA stabilization will definitely be for the rear lenses. So this also, I want to ask you, right? If you are a product brand manager or you're developing a camera like this, my biggest complaint is that the front camera never records at 4K. But for this case, the front camera records at 4K, but the stabilization is not good. Would you choose to come up with a 1080p camera but great stabilization, or just come up with 4K with not so great stabilization?
I think the big question is, in what price bracket this phone is being competing in.
Okay.
Because certain features would be more important in different brackets.
Got it.
I feel this is a very numbers-driven game. In the mid-range, you want features. You compare tech specs. Like right now, we have this little table where we compare all the tech specs and what's good about each phone, right?
Yeah.
I think 4K on paper looks good for the Vivo.
Yeah.
However, practical-wise, I would probably buy one which is 1080p, better OIS.
Yeah, that's interesting because I was always against that factor because I was like, hey, come on, lah, 4K, no 4K, why are you still using 1080p? But when I started seeing this, yeah, you got 4K, but if the image stabilization is not going to look good, for the regular user who has no technical knowledge, when they look at it, it's like, yo, why is it not good? They're not talking about the quality here because the stabilization also links with the quality, right? So probably I wouldn't think that I would say this, but I think that the quality of the stabilization makes more sense. And I'm leaning towards what you said. If the stabilization is going to look ugly, you might as well go to 1080p. So now moving forward, whenever...
Or we could do the Gen Z thing where you use the rear camera.
Yeah, quality is going to be better. But
quality is going to be better, stabilization is going to be better.
That's true.
But you got to kind of figure out whether your framing is good or not.
You know, speaking of which, I think we had this discussion, is like the Xiaomi 17 Pro series, the Pro and the Pro Max. It is their number one selling phone in the whole world, whether or not it's in China and all. And that major factor on why it is major factor, get it? Major factor. The major factor is the fact that it has the screen at the back. So people can take videos of themselves, and having the screen at the back of the Xiaomi 17 Pro and the Pro Max was one of the reasons why it was sold, right? I honestly do not think that the Xiaomi 17 Ultra would sell as much as a Pro because it's almost like your regular, very powerful smartphone, but you do not have the screen at the back. So imagine if they had a screen, so probably it can sell, and of course the price factor. So I do think that people still would rather see their face when they take a video footage rather than not see their face per se.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So
I mean, for flagships is not really the question or is a debate because the front cameras have good stabilization and it's 4K. So you don't really question it.
Correct.
It's already good quality at base level.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for this, obviously, the question remains whether you want 4K or 1080p with stabilization.
I think now moving forward, whenever I review a phone, whenever there's no front 4K, I wouldn't bitch as much because I've seen an example whereby 4K, but the quality was not so good on the stabilization. You might as well give me 1080p with good stabilization. It's interesting. I don't know whether you saw Carl Pei's video reacting to YouTubers doing reviews. One of the things that he actually mentioned is that somebody reviewed and talked about how the Nothing Phone 4a Pro has 140x zoom, in case you did not know. And it looks like shit. And Carl Pei was pissed. He was like, yeah, that is one of the things which I told the team that I was against, but he still let the team go ahead because, and he is right. But it's nice that Carl Pei is a good leader in a way where, like, you know, you really want to report this? You want to say they can go up to 140 times, but it looks like crap? Put it up. But that's the thing. So I think what Carl Pei is trying to say, it is actually very synonymous to what we think, right? If, yes, everything can go. Imagine you can record up to 8K front camera and then after that, like, it becomes like madness stabilization. Would you even use it?
Not only that, the phone gets fried because it's too hot.
Yeah. So yes, you can do it.
The processor cannot keep up, you know.
So like what Carl Pei trying to say is, which I think I fully agree with him, is that if it can go up to 140 times, it does not mean that it needs to, unless like it is damn bloody good. You can just make it go down to probably 50 times zoom. Why? But your 50 times zoom is like God level. Then yes. Otherwise, what's the point, right? You did note it here that there are the watch first consideration, because if you all watch our videos, you all know that, you know, it's always about watch first and buy smart. So give us your watch first consideration on this, Abang.
So there are a couple of phones that are not on the list. Number one, also because maybe the price bracket is a little bit outside of the price bracket of 1,599.
Yeah.
But they're also kind of make sense in a way. You spend a little bit more, but get maybe a better phone. So the first on the list is Samsung Galaxy A37, which comes in at $1,899.
All right.
A little bit more expensive, but it's really a safe buy for 2026 because it offers, number one, 6 years of OS updates, and it definitely beats a lot of the competitors out there with 2-3 years of updates. And when you talk about Samsung, it's always about Galaxy AI. So it supports Galaxy AI features, circle to search, live translate, and all that stuff that you see for a sub 2,000 price.
Very good point.
Very
I like
good.
that. Yeah.
Okay. Number 2, also one of my current favorites, and I think probably one of the best mid-range phones of 2026.
You know, I gotta agree.
Nothing Phone 4A,
I
which
gotta
comes in
agree.
at $19.99.
Yeah.
They just launched it, obviously, and it occupies a premium mid-range space. Okay, and if you want something really unique and aesthetically pleasing, and a hardware design, and this is more important to you than a 200 megapixel camera, then I think the Nothing Phone A would be a very good choice for you.
Yeah.
And last but not least, something we don't talk about too much, Oppo Reno 15F, which comes in at the same price. Always a rival for Vivo.
Yeah.
And the V series.
Yep.
So Reno is always focused on portraiture and photography, especially AI-driven stuff.
Yeah.
Although the V70 FE will win on battery, Reno has, I think, better skin tone optimization if you like portrait,
I agree.
because that's something they focus on. Anyway.
Yes,
So they're very
correct.
good at that.
Yeah.
So these are the 3 choices.
Very interesting choices. Now, if you have any other recommendation in terms of what you would buy other than the FE, let us know in the comment section below. And speaking of which, we are going to be doing an in-depth review later on, especially on test out the 7,000 milliamps of battery and to see whether how much of a battery life that we get it. So if you have other further questions, do let us know in the comment section below, and we will answer to your questions based on that in our in-depth review. All right. Moving on to the first news of the week, which is Xbox Project Helix. And yes, is this the end of the gaming console? What are your thoughts about that?
Wow, that's a very important question, I think.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how many of us are console gamers.
I am. Although I hardly game, I still prefer PS5.
Okay.
I hardly game, but still, if you had to give me a PC and also a console, I like the idea of not worrying about tweaking settings. Some people love it. Like some people like to tweak the settings. Hey, what if I changed ray tracing to medium? Do I get a better experience? I just want to be able to take the downloaded or even the disc, just put it in, and I just want to shut up and play. How about you? Are you a PC gamer or are you a console?
So what about upgradability before I answer
I don't
my
care
question?
though. Yeah, because for me, it's like if I'm going to buy God of War, for example, right? Why do I want to upgrade it? I want to just keep on playing with that. How much of an upgrade? Let's look at the console, for example, like between the PS5 and the PS5 Pro. Like, yeah, there is upgraded ray tracing, but how often as a not so hardcore gamer do you need that kind of a overall upgrade per se?
Sure.
So that would be
Sure.
Yeah.
So you'll wait for, let's say, the next update to the PS.
Yeah, so probably like a PS7 or PS8, because I like smartphones. I never believe on changing the phone every iteration. Probably maybe give like a 2-year, 3-year generation gap. Because the last PS that I used before the PS5 was actually the PS2. I never owned the PS3.
Okay.
So that's
So it was a big jump.
Yeah, it was a big jump for me.
For me, I see the appeal of console gaming because also it reflects on what you said. It's about, I don't want to worry about any of the hardware stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want to worry about updating Windows
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I just want to buy a console, play the games I want to play, and that's it. Turn
Yep.
off.
Yep.
But there's also that segment of the market where they want upgradability. I can upgrade the GPU next year if a new one comes in.
Got it.
I get
Okay.
better graphics, better frame rates, and
Got
stuff
it.
like that.
Okay.
But this is very interesting. Xbox Project Helix that was announced during the Games Developer Conference. Microsoft is pursuing this idea where they come up with a hybrid device. It's both for PC and console.
Okay.
From a user standpoint, you get a very good console box. And I think from a developer's standpoint, it's really interesting because you don't need to allocate resources to port a version of a console, or Xbox version, and a version for the PC. So you don't have, you save kind of development dollars on that.
Yeah.
You write once, it can play on both platforms. And it also coincides with the rollout of Xbox mode for Windows 11.
Okay.
So if you're in Windows 11, you fire a button, it goes into Xbox mode, which gives you that console experience.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about Windows. It doesn't look like Windows at all.
Yep.
And they roll this out, they're rolling out this month in April.
Okay.
So they are essentially turning every PC that's out there supported, Windows 11, into an Xbox.
Okay.
Which is quite cool.
Okay.
Okay. And here's what's good. Okay, there's a unified library. Like I mentioned, you don't have to have different versions of games. Xbox and PC, you can have full access to your Steam library, Epic Games.
That would be the biggest thing, right?
Yeah, Xbox library are using like a single device.
Yes.
At home. And this hardware, which is is a code name, Helix. The Magnus APU is the new 3 nanometer powerhouse, which uses RDNA 5.
Wow.
And it brings a lot of AI-driven performance. So you're going to get very, very good native 4K performance at 120 frames per second. So that's really good. And I think what's important is also the value proposition. I talked to you about it before we went live, was that even a mid-range GPU can cost about 5,000 ringgit.
Yeah.
Right?
So if you think about it, it's actually a quite good value.
By buying this Project Helix console, super console, it's basically spending, just 5,000 ringgit on this. You don't have to upgrade and don't have to worry about it anymore.
But what if you want to upgrade?
Then you don't have a choice. I mean, you can still do a PC, run that Xbox mode within Windows 11, and that would be a thing.
Okay.
I think the important discussion angles we can cover is that, will this kill the PC, as in the gaming PC? Will it kill that? Is there a big enough market that people would buy this hybrid console and stop buying PC, stop building PCs, stop buying PC parts?
Yeah.
What do you think?
It all depends on how much upgradability that people want to look at. I think probably the biggest factor on why consoles get sold compared to PC is the price. So if they are trying to disrupt the price by coming up with, again, in a lack of a better example, like how the MacBook Neo is here to disrupt the whole Windows world, right? I don't think that this will disrupt it because, it's powerful, but it's still going to cost a lot. Then what's the point?
And also, I think there's still this space of the PC master race people where I still want to build my PC.
Yeah. That sense of pride, that sense of that, I built this PC. And I've spoken to people who just build PCs as like every week or sometimes every month. It's like, I just built a new PC. I just built a new PC. And that's that sense of pride from them. For me, I don't have that pride because, number one, I don't have the patience to build a PC.
It's fun, dude.
Yeah, I
enjoy it.
I got no time. So that's one of the things that I do not like. So at nearly 5,000 ringgit, that's a massive jump from your typical console era. Even though when there were scalpers trying to sell the PS5, it has not come to 5,000 ringgit, right? Like we've seen scalpers selling the TRX freaking goodie bag and stuff like that. That was even so much more than when the PS5 had a scalpers as well. So the question remains is the fixed console dead per se? And does this actually move Sony to turn the PlayStation 6 to be a hybrid?
That's a very interesting question. I mean, if this concept works, maybe Sony might consider moving PlayStation into like a PC device or a hybrid console.
The reason, and this also begs the question of, notice how Sony did not bother to create a portable console to rival directly the Nintendo Switch and all. They are like, you know what, you can do the remote play, you don't have to worry, but we do not need to dedicate our time and resources to create a fully portable gaming device.
I mean, of course, they did it before with PSP and all that stuff.
Good times. But because they're not looking into that, they might go hybrid. They might go like, you know what? I don't think people care about how big the console looks like. As long as the console looks aesthetically pleasing, I'm sorted. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Imagine, it's like Sonos, right? So you know how Sonos have their speakers, and the reason why people still prefer the Sonos ecosystem, other than the upgradability, is the fact that it looks aesthetically nice. It blends with your furniture. So aesthetics is very important. When the PS was first introduced, the PS5, it looks so nice. It looked like a spaceship, and that's why, like, even in my house, I actually got it mounted nicely on my wall. So I think that as long as it's going to look good, I think if they were to go into this whole PC hybrid kind of thing, that could be something that they can do as long as it looks good.
Yeah. But I mean, to your point, we haven't seen any pictures. There's nothing revealed, and we don't know what it looks like.
Yeah.
So, and I think I agree with you in terms of look wise. Number one, for consoles, you connect it to your TV and it's in your living room.
Yeah.
A PC is not. PC is in your room somewhere, in your study or in your gaming room.
Yeah.
You connect it to a big ass monitor, and you don't do that in the living room.
Exactly.
We have absolutely no idea what it looks like, so I'm sure it doesn't look like an Xbox per se.
Yep.
The other question is, since the Xbox mode is available on Windows 11,
Good point.
then do you actually need to buy this Helix hardware, which costs you $5,000?
It also comes back to the ecosystem, like whole the Apple ecosystem, right? Although there is the potential of having all the libraries on a single standardized area, but some people are very happy with their current Xbox themes and all the games already over there. So since it's already available on Windows 11 for the Xbox mode, I do not think that this is something whereby people who have this may not even bother. I don't think it's a target market, in my humble opinion.
Okay, yeah, I think it's quite a separate market, right?
Yes.
The console and also the PC.
Yeah, exactly. But probably this could kind of get the people closer to something like this. And if it works, then probably they will find a very good market for this.
I give you one example of an application in terms of, in those days, FIFA, right?
Yeah.
So you have the FIFA version on, let's say, PlayStation. Let's just say FC24 or FC25. You cannot play against people who are using the PC version. Let's say you're playing FC.
Oh, yes, you're right.
So it's not shareable per se.
Yeah.
This might help in that sense because it's going to run a common platform, right? So everybody can play with everybody.
Yeah.
And I think that's an advantage. They didn't talk about this, but I feel that could be a very good advantage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. For the second topic is, so the good news is that Mo was buying an SD card, a micro SD card.
He was a lucky one.
He was a lucky one because nowadays, buying an SD card besides RAM is getting scarce in the market today. So that's the second topic that we're going to be talking about. So Vernon, let's start with you.
My first question to you is like, do you like doom scrolling cat videos? You know, cats dancing on IG. And those are generated by AI.
I see that.
Guess where I'm going with this?
I'm going to pretend like I do not know. But I see those, and the memes have always been that this is why the RAM price are very high. So I've seen those memes and cats dancing. But I do not like go out there and search, probably because we are cat owners. So we were like, yeah, bro, this doesn't impress me, but cats does not do that. So that is my answer to your first question. Why did you ask the question?
I asked the question because all this generative AI stuff, whether it's a prompt and whether you're, creating videos in Higgs field and having cats dancing and stuff like that, this is all affecting memory prices all over the world. Number one, we had GPU prices that went up.
Yeah.
And then we had DRAM prices going up because manufacturers are migrating and porting all the development and manufacturing into producing, not for consumers, but moving into supporting AI. and AI hardware infrastructure, right? So this is now happening to SD cards. And if you're a photographer, content creator, and you're looking to buy a high-end Sony Tough
Camera, SD card, yeah.
you are going to have a major problem. Number one, there's no stock
problem.
because Sony has said we're stopping production.
Wow.
And right after that, WD announced they're stopping. SanDisk announced that they're stopping production because of the price of NAND chips going up.
Wow.
And these are the little things that power SD cards. And funnily enough, these are the same things that power AI infrastructure. So globally, there's a shortage. You will likely see out of stock notices if you're trying to buy online. You'll be lucky, like Mo, finding one in the retail store.
Yeah.
But you're also going to see 60%, 70% price hikes. They expect some, like the high-end ones, to be even up to 300%.
Okay.
Price hike. And this is expected throughout 2026. So, I mean, what we can talk about is what are photographers and content creators going to do if they cannot buy SD cards?
Yeah, that's a good point. So, let us know what you guys have to think about that. To me, it's going to suck as a content creator because my benchmark for buying a very good SSD or NVMe has always been 2 terabytes. So, and I've been already doing research about how to have like a proper NAS within the office. And now with this price increase, is either I make my decision within the next few days or I'm going to cry when it comes to the price.
What about like SD cards, flash cards in the workflow where you, when you bring out a camera in the field, you have several SD cards in there.
Yeah.
Is this going to push creators to change their workflow, use more external SSDs and
not all cameras can use external SSD. So that's the biggest
that is
problem.
The biggest challenge, I feel.
So like Blackmagic, you can do that. Blackmagic, you can both shoot on an SD card or even on an external SSD. Sony, you can't do that. So you still, and Sony has their own CF Express version. They have the tough card and stuff like that. I think this will make people be more worried because now the barrier to entry to get a decent camera or mirrorless camera, and the ones who are using cameras will be affected.
Yeah.
At the same time, this could be a win to a lot of smartphones because now people will be like, I don't want to buy a SD card. I just use an iPhone.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
I use an iPhone or I use the new Vivo X300 Ultra because the video can record APV codec log, or the S26 Ultra. So,
but what about the pros though, do you think? I mean,
the pros like us, because I still use a Sony A7S III, just literally got a Sigma lens.
I'm sure
it's
you
been
have
so
your
good.
collection of SD cards.
Yeah,
but what if you have to...
I was actually thinking to buy one more, and now looking at this, I think I better do a more and just go to the shop and just go and buy it as soon as possible.
But here's what they say: if you're planning to buy SD cards, buy now.
Yeah,
because prices are expected to go up even further in 2026.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah. So let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Next topic is who asked for these? Okay, Abang, give us the lowdown since it's your segment.
So, as you know, this segment is where we look at the tech that proves just even if we can build it, should we build it?
Yeah.
You know, the topic that we have today is called the Amazfit Vital Food Narc camera. Very inedible kind of
what is
name for
Narc?
it.
No, is it like a short form for narcissist or what?
I don't know. I don't know why it's called Narc.
Right? Food Narc, narcissist.
But a little bit of a background. So imagine you go for your next meal. You're at the mama, right? You have this full plate of
I like how you said
rice
mama. That's good. Very relatable.
Vegetables and meat and curry on top. But you have this little companion with you that captures everything that you eat.
Judging you every moment.
Judging you every single moment.
Nani.
And analyzing the dietary, the breakdown, and whether it's good for you or not. So this is exactly what Amazfit has done with a camera prototype. It's powered by AI, obviously. And they demonstrated this at CES.
Okay.
Obviously, again,
Yeah.
all the cool stuff comes
Never
from CES.
knew. Thank you for looking for this.
So I'm sure you've heard of their health app called Zep.
Yep.
Zep Health is tied to all their Amazfit watches. And all
Yes,
that. It's
correct.
amazing. I think it's a really good.
Yeah, they have a
platform for health.
similar like the Whoop band also. Yeah.
They're really good at it, and so it's designed to automatically track all your food and analyze your nutritional intake. So this thing it looks really cool if you look at the pictures.
Yeah, it looks like a nothing product though.
Yeah,
Yeah, it really reminds me of a nothing product.
it's almost like a foldable phone that you place on a table,
Mm-hmm.
and it will start recording. It has this flip open design.
So it needs to record, like it needs to angle to look at the food, not at your face.
not at my face.
You know why I asked
It
this
doesn't
question?
need to look at you eat.
No, you know why I asked this? Do you know that if you chew your food 20 times or 30 times or something
30
along that,
times,
30 times, right? Your body like consumes lesser fat because
Oh, really?
yeah. So this is scientifically proven
Lesser fat.
because you are breaking down the food enzymes, so you are not having extra consumption of fat. I had no idea this is a thing.
But I know it's always good to chew your food more.
I don't chew my food, I swallow. That's what she said.
Like a cat.
But
Oh my God.
but here's the thing though. Yeah, so but I don't think that's a huge factor. But it's good that the camera is looking at the food all the time. But I'm eager to know. I always feel like these products, right? They are very good at developing when it comes to all the Western kind of food. When it comes to
that's a good
how are you
point.
going to do this for mee curry, for example?
I think it's a good point.
bak kut teh, for example. Like, how are you going to analyze that? Oh, this looks like a clear soup. Bak kut teh got two types of soup also, right? Sorry, non-halal. But yeah, I feel like this would work for a burger, would work for a pasta, would work for lasagna, but it won't work for like nasi campur. What do you think?
I think because it's AI driven, there's a lot of machine learning involved. Over time, as more users use it and there's the bigger database of food, I think it will improve. For sure.
You need to separate the curry. Okay, like curry asing. Like you can't use it a banje,
Banje.
like roti banje. You do not,
Roti banja is easy. It's 1,000 calories, I can tell you.
not 2000.
Yeah, maybe 2,000.
Because here's the thing, right? Like roti banja, you have like a bunch of kuah. And some of the kuah is like super, kuah
Fatty.
is
Saturated in fat.
gravy for those of you who are not watching it from Malaysia or listening from Malaysia. So kuah is gravy. So you have all this gravy, which is filled with saturated fat. And it is filled with sugar, especially. And you are putting all of this gravy at the counter, and then you're putting it in front of your table with the camera, right? So how is the camera supposed to know how many kuah was added into that? That is the question. So I don't think that it can
Again,
be
it's-
as accurate.
I don't think it's super accurate, but at
Yeah.
least it gives you
That's
some
okay
data,
lah. Yeah,
some
okay.
analytics, and some insight to
Yeah.
your overall health, right?
Yep.
And all this data syncs to your, obviously, the Zep app,
Yep.
and it allows you to really track your nutrition, and combining with whatever else that you're tracking. You know, your exercise, your training, your recovery, your sleep, things that are very important to us, both of us.
Yes, of course.
Right, and other health metrics. So
Okay.
it's very good. You said don't point the camera to your face, right?
Yep.
The cool thing about this has a very there's a privacy feature which is designed to blur your face when it captures the food. In case you're in the frame,
Yeah.
it will blur your face as part of the analysis process.
Oh,
Which is
it's not it's a privacy thing, lah.
It's a privacy.
Oh, got it. It's a privacy thing. Okay, so
So can you buy it? I think that's a question.
yes, of course, because you know how irritated I get when they talk about it and then they cannot have it, right? So
I'm sorry to disappoint you. The Vital is currently at early stage concept
oh god, here you go.
and currently not available
I'm
for
disappointed.
purchase.
Okay.
However, I'm sure it's coming soon because I think Zap is very serious about health
And at
all
least it's
the
Amazfit.
ecosystem behind.
Yeah, so Amazfit is not only known to have great technology, but their devices have always been on a very affordable side of things. And also their technology, before you were using the Apple Watch again,
I was
you were
using
using an
Amazfit,
Amazfit, and I'm sure it was great for you.
It was very good. I love the app.
Yeah, the
And,
app is very good.
Even compatibility with the Apple ecosystem was very good.
Yeah. because they
it worked
know that they're
perfectly
trying
on
to get.
iPhone.
Yes, so I believe in them, and I hope that they come up with this.
I feel it's very useful because you also have those calorie counting apps that exist in the app
Yes,
stores.
absolutely.
A lot of them are very tedious because you have to manually input things that you eat. Right?
Yeah,
This is almost automatic. Put
Yeah.
it on the table.
Yeah.
It'll just analyze automatically.
There's even like right now, I think like Pris did a video about it, which is my wife, and she did this about this app called Welling, whereby you take a picture, but you still need to take a picture. And then there's another part where you can just use voice to say what exactly I'm eating. But
Kari kepala ikan.
yeah, but that's the thing. So that's why I said a Malaysianized flavor is so hard. At the same time, what if you cheat? You got fries there, but you're not going to say. Right?
But I mean, if you cheat, then you're
Then
cheating
no point,
yourself,
right? Exactly. But I believe that this product will be even better if it integrates with something like your Apple Health, so that it can tell you whether you're having enough calories per se.
I'm sure certain metrics can be shared to
Yeah.
Apple Health. Just as
Yeah.
the Zap does
So
it.
like for example, earlier you
with
saw
the
lunch, right?
smartwatches.
Look, I ate lunch earlier for the sake of eating lunch because my brains is all about work. I just had like a chicken breast, fried chicken and bindi. Now, already I lost a lot of weight, right? Like I'm 64, I was 71.3. And
What? 7 kilos?
yeah, I lost
long?
from February.
Wow.
Yeah. I think it's the traveling and the stress and the not sleeping properly. Anyway, and I haven't been playing pickleball as more often. That's why I wanted you to come this someday. Anyway, if the camera can tell me, he said, bro, that's too little.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. Oh, is that too much? Like too much, we gotta know.
I mean-
I believe that a lot of ways of tracking, they don't tell us how little that we're eating and how little of what that we're eating.
Correct.
If you can do something along the lines of that, then it's really
You
lovely.
can
lah.
also undereat, which is why you have a calorie deficit.
Yeah.
And that's why you're losing weight.
Yeah, exactly. So,
So useful or not?
yeah, I just wanted to ask the question. It's interesting out there. So, who asked for this?
People like me will ask for it. You
Why?
As well.
Why?
Because we are Asian, we're
Yep.
Malaysian, we eat a lot.
Yeah.
And also the lifestyle that we lead, like you say, we need to know whether we're overeating or undereating.
Yeah.
And I like that there's insight as part of my entire kind of health tracking and overall health,
Exactly.
which is important to me.
Syncing between different apps is just very important. Like, who asked for this from my side? I would love to. The reason why is because I need to eat properly. And I think now I'm struggling to eat enough, probably enough protein. And once they know that what is my plan, am I going on a calorie deficit or am I going on a calorie increase, it can help me on that matter. So yes, definitely ask for that.
Absolutely. Very interesting product, I feel.
Yeah, fantastic. As usual, at this point in time, since we are still having the videos on our main page, so the community segment, Vernon will be posting the questions up as usual every single Tuesday. So you can feel free to answer over there and then we can see what is happening, because that is the next segment that we are going to be talking about, which is the community segment. For the community segment for Tuesday, Abang Vernon has asked a question. The mid-range battle just got real because like the bunch of mid-range devices. So if you had about 2,500 ringgit, which is converted to about 600 USD, thank you for putting that, because our audience is not only from Malaysia, in your pocket today, which is the value king that you would take home. So there are the iPhone 17e, the Nothing Phone 4a Pro, the Google Pixel 10a, and I will just save for flagship. Okay. So before we go into the comments, the answer that is available on the highest point is, I was shocked to see this, which is I'm saving for a flagship.
A lot of people, rich people out there.
No, it's not about rich people.
Yeah,
I'm
that's it.
shocked
Just
because
kidding.
I thought that our audiences or the people watching our videos would still rather buy a mid-range phone than saving for a flagship. So I guess flagship is here to stay. So that's nice.
Which is why people still make flagships.
Good point. And the second one would be the Nothing Phone 4a Pro. Review on that coming soon. I've been so busy. I swear I need you all to watch that video because spoiler alert, it's a bloody good phone. Okay. And then the next one would be the Google Pixel 10a, and the final one or the bottom of the lot is the iPhone 17e. For many reasons. Number one, I still think that our audiences, especially the smartphone guys, are a bit more catered towards the Android market. I understand.
Yes.
At the same time, when you are catered a bit more to an Android market, when you see the amount of things that the iPhone 17e offers compared to other Android options, because again here the price is there, right? And we are going against all of the Androids. Of course, probably people would not choose the iPhone 17e. Do you agree with this particular poll of I'm saving for a flagship if you would do the same?
I don't think it's a question of whether I agree or not, but I just find it very interesting that the Pixel actually overtakes the iPhone 17e.
Yeah, good point.
Number one, Pixel in Malaysia, that's the questionable thing.
Yeah.
And I think iPhone 17e is a super, super solid device.
Compared to the 16e, you know, it's like for me, the 70e hits it. The only problem is that people see the singular camera. That's my only thing that I think why people are not liking this phone.
The other thing is the 60 hertz screen.
Okay.
That was something that I think the comments brought up. And I kind of agree with that.
Yeah, we'll look into the comments soon. We had a total of 259 votes. If you ask me whether I agree with this specifically, for me, I would say that I do not agree, because if I had to choose the value king and the way the phone looks and the way the camera performs, and just for the sake of being different,
Nothing.
I will go with nothing for phone 4a Pro. You would go with which one?
Very close between 17e and the 4a Pro.
Got it. Nice. So we do have a total of 17 comments. HTK, welcome back, buddy. Remember, in the future, we'll let you know soon. Don't forget to subscribe. One thing's for sure is we are going to have this we're going to do like a collab post with our new channel as well. So don't forget to hit to What the Click podcast on YouTube, and also subscribe while we wait for this transition to happen thanks to YouTube. So yes, HTK, I rather get those 1,500K and keep the change. There you go. This makes sense.
Okay,
Bring
Vivo
it
V70.
So that means like your Vivos
Vivo
and stuff.
V70.
Yeah, I guess I get what he means. So that's why I say this contradicts the highest vote, right? OP Human V7N says one and only iQOO 15R. We have never reviewed an iQOO device, lab.
Maybe you should try and get one.
No, we can get one. So because it's still under Vivo, and I think it's all matter of just asking them, and then this. We do not know that we do have an audience too. So yeah, I do know we do have subscribers coming from India, but let us know if you really seriously want us to do a review on iQOO device and which one. Let us know in the comment section below, and I guarantee we will do it, especially on this particular podcast. Yeah. This is Jay says would save for a flagship, so he was one of the people voting over there. Anish Date says that none. I would rather get the Oppo Reno 15. So
see the Oppo Reno 15.
Yeah, it's that, but it's not the F.
Yeah.
Jason FX01 says 2,500 used to be flagship 15 years ago. I agree.
What?
No, he's trying to say 2,500 ringgit. That price used to be a flagship phone last time.
Inflation, bro.
Yeah, but I agree. Very good point. And yeah, you also commented and said you're right. VFox says saving 200 more and getting the Poco F8 Ultra. Good. Fantastic speakers. Totally agree. There's a reply over there. You said wise choice. Nice. Richard says nothing phone 4a Pro's design is good, but SoC is the worst for the price range.
Kind of agree, but then again, nothing OS makes it better.
Yeah, and Kalpe made tons of videos about this. But yeah, thank you so much for your feedback, because he feels that he should provide at least a Snapdragon 8 Gen for the 5A Pro series, hopefully in the future. So yeah. Bang Vernon, he said this is a really close call between 17E and also the phone 4A Pro.
Exactly what I said.
Why is there 5 replies? Wow.
To my comment.
Ah, yes, correct. Yeah, okay. So OP Human came back and said the 60 Hertz, like what he said. And also the bezels in a shit phone. 60 Hertz in 2026 is a crime and a red flag. Okay lah, I can understand.
Yeah. Deal breaker for some people.
Mo says, whoa, I always thought you had something for the Pixel. Then Vernon says yes, until the 17E came out. Very good point.
No, remember when we did the podcast about the Pixel 10? And
Yeah.
that was prior to the 17E coming out.
Yes.
I said, okay, this is the phone for 2026.
Yeah.
And then Apple gave us a big surprise.
On the baseline models too.
Yeah, the 17, not the 17E.
Yeah, not the E. Yeah, the 17.
I was like, wow,
yeah.
hasn't been done before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that one has the promotion
Google,
and all. So yeah, good point. And then Lee Hood says, nothing phone any day. Did you see the finishing crazy? Totally agree. That's one of the reasons why I actually chose that particular phone as well. So yes, guys, if you are still joining us in this main channel, don't forget to come and tune in every Tuesday. Vernon will be asking the question on our community tab. And once we start getting everybody to come in the new channel, which we will tag as a collaborator, then we can start asking over there. But in the meantime, this is the place for you to actually go and get it as well. Okay, we will be closing things off with the video releases for this particular week. We have already released the Vivo V70 FE. If you're watching this on a Saturday, we released about 2 days ago. The Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra, after 1 month, is already out as well. And the Nothing Phone 4A review, that is also out as well. What's coming soon, we'll be doing a bunch of videos. Some is not product related. I went to Beijing during Raya, so I haven't had a break until now. I went and review a smart mattress, very interesting mattress with AI and also some very, very interesting stuff for that.
Does that work?
Yeah, yes, exactly. Also coming soon would be the review of the Nothing Headphones A. Spoiler alert, very good for the price, audio quality. I don't usually wear headphones in the gym, but I wore it in the gym. So that is actually quite interesting when I was in China. Second main thing is that for you all to also know is the fact that we have a review on the Nothing Phone 4A Pro. Next week, probably our hands-on, since I still do have the Vivo X300 Ultra, we can maybe talk about that. Based on what I found and my experience when I was in Lijiang, Yunnan as well. So we can actually talk about that next week as well. So with that, we'd like to close our episode number 51 of What the Click podcast. My name is Adam Lobo.
And I'm Vernon. See you in the next one.
Bye-bye.